All right, let's dive into this. The Go-Giver Marriage. 5 secrets. Lasting love, all that. We've got this book. It's a fable, right? About a couple. And a magical tree.
Yeah, it's kind of a quirky setup.
Quirky, for sure, but it reflects the health of their relationship, supposedly.
That's the idea, and I think it works. It gets you thinking about relationships, like a living thing that you got to take care of.
Okay, so we're not just talking like, find the right person and everything's peachy.
Not exactly. This
Yeah.
book really digs into the idea that a strong relationship can help you grow as a person.
So maybe less about the one and more about becoming better versions of ourselves because of the relationship.
You got it. And these 5 secrets are supposed to be like the guideposts along the way.
All right, so secret number 1, appreciate. Pretty basic, right? Show your partner some love.
Yeah, but there's a twist. It's not just about, being nice. The book pushes for actively looking for things to appreciate.
So not just noticing your partner did the dishes, but maybe appreciating how they organized everything just so.
Exactly. Like they put thought into it, made it special.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, are we missing those little things our partners already do?
Because we're not paying attention.
Right. It's like we're so used to them, we take those little acts of love for granted.
So true. Okay, attend. Secret number 2. There's got to be more than just showing up for a date night.
Way more. It's about actually doing things to meet your partner's needs and desires. The book uses this example. The wife notices her husband's shoulders are tense and gives him a massage.
Thoughtful, right?
Absolutely. But it goes deeper. What if her love language wasn't acts of service, but words of affirmation?
Oh, interesting. So a massage wouldn't hit the same way.
But maybe not. A sincere compliment about how hard he's working. Yeah, that might actually attend to his needs better.
Makes you think, are we speaking the same love language as our partners? Are we missing the mark with our good intentions?
All the time. If you're out there buying flowers when what your partner really craves is just quality time together.
Total miss.
Right. This attend thing, it almost forces you to really get to know your partner.
Become students of our partners, not just gift givers. I love that. Okay, secret number 3, allow. This one seems kind of tricky.
I actually think it's one of the most powerful. It uses this analogy of kintsugi. It's a Japanese art. You repair broken pottery with gold.
So you highlight the cracks, not hide them.
Yes, like you're embracing the imperfections, making them part of the beauty.
So instead of trying to fix our partners, we learn to accept their flaws as part of what makes them who they are.
Exactly. This book challenges the whole perfect match idea. It suggests that real intimacy comes from loving the whole person. The messy parts, too.
There's this line, I remember it clearly, about how important it is to let your partner be themselves, even when they're not perfect.
Creating that safe harbor.
Yes, especially when things are tough.
We all need that, to feel accepted. Even when we're not at our best. When someone sees our cracks and still chooses to love us.
It's powerful. It reminds me we don't always have to fix things. Sometimes the best thing we can do is just be there.
Just listen. Accept without judgment.
That's it. It's not about problem solving. It's about being with them.
Which, you know what? That's a perfect lead into the next secret. Believe.
This one feels counterintuitive almost.
Yeah.
Shouldn't love be unconditional? Why do I need to believe in someone I already love?
It's more nuanced than that. It's not about believing in them like you're not sure. It's believing in their potential.
Yeah.
The book contrasts belief with contempt.
Okay. Big difference there.
Huge. Contempt says you're not good enough. Belief says you have so much potential.
Okay, I see it. So not blind faith, but seeing their potential even when they doubt themselves.
Yeah, and helping them see it too. It's like actively encouraging their growth. Which, wait a minute, isn't that the next secret?
Grow. You're right. It all connects.
It does. And it's all about how important it is for each person in the relationship to keep growing, to become the best versions of themselves.
So not just accepting your partner's flaws, but encouraging them to evolve, to become even better.
Exactly. And it's not just for their benefit. The book argues that if both people are growing, it keeps the relationship fresh, prevents stagnation.
So it's not selfish to focus on your own growth. It actually strengthens the relationship.
That's the idea. It's like if you're not growing, you're standing still while life is moving forward.
Wow, that's a powerful image. It all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually do all this?
That's what's so cool about this book. It gets into the nitty-gritty of putting these secrets into action.
Tangible steps.
Yep. Real-world stuff.
I am intrigued. Let's dig into that in the next part of our deep dive.
Back again, digging deeper into the go-giver marriage and how to actually put these secrets into practice. Which one's stuck with you so far?
They all got me thinking, honestly. But allow, that one really hit home. That whole thing about accepting imperfections and creating a safe space, it seems so important.
Yeah, it's big, but it's tough. It's easy to want to fix your partner, especially when they're having a hard time.
For sure.
But this book, it really makes you see the power of just being there. Letting them feel their feelings without judgment.
There's that scene, right? The wife's having a meltdown, anniversary, totally stressed, and snaps at her husband.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Easy for him to get defensive or try to fix it, but he just listens, makes her soup, just lets her be.
Really shows the difference, right? Between fixing and just being there.
Yeah, and isn't that what we all want when we're feeling vulnerable? To be seen, heard, not judged.
Makes allow so powerful. It's about that space where you can be yourself completely.
No holding back.
And it's not just about being passive, There's a choice involved to accept those flaws, those quirks, the things that might even annoy you sometimes.
That's where the kintsugi thing comes in, right? Seeing those imperfections is beautiful.
Yeah, like part of what makes them special, recognizing that, well, that we're all a work in progress, and that's okay.
In those imperfections is where we connect, where we see our humanity.
That's it.
Instead of sanding down the rough edges, you embrace them, celebrate them even.
It's more freeing,
For sure. And more realistic. No one's perfect, right? We all have baggage, insecurities, those moments we're not proud of.
Oh, absolutely.
But those moments, that's when you see how deep someone's love really is. When they stick around, hold space for you, even when you're not at your best.
That's real love. And that's where believe comes in, I think. That unwavering faith, even when they doubt themselves.
It keeps coming back to me, that idea that believe seems kind of backward. Like, of course I believe in someone I love.
Right. But it's about their potential, not just who they are right now.
Right.
Like in the book, when the princess encourages the guy to build his cathedral, she sees it, even when he doesn't, helps him believe in himself.
It's like that saying, you can do anything you set your mind to. But it hits different when it comes from someone you love.
It's permission to dream bigger.
And it doesn't have to be some big dramatic thing, just little encouragements. Noticing their effort, telling them you appreciate their talents, just saying, I believe in you.
Little things can make a big difference.
They really can. And that leads us right into grow, the last secret. This one's all about taking responsibility for growing as a person, even within the relationship.
Your own development.
Yeah, not dependent on your partner to make you happy or meet all your needs.
You're both responsible for your own growth.
And it actually makes the relationship better, right?
That's what the book says. New energy, new perspectives, keeps things interesting.
Did they give any examples of how couples can help each other grow? It's one thing to say grow, but how do you actually do it?
Yeah, they did. There was that part where the princess, she gets into art, spends time away from her husband to pursue it.
Right, I remember that.
And he supports her, does more around the house, encourages her.
So it's not like giving up your own needs to support your partner.
No, it's about balance. You can support each other and still have your own thing.
Makes sense. Sometimes supporting each other means pushing each other a little bit too.
Totally.
Yeah.
Challenging them, getting them out of their comfort zone, believing in them, even when they're resisting.
So it's not always about being nice and agreeable.
Sometimes love means being honest, even when it's hard, speaking up.
And that ties back to allow and believe, doesn't it? You let them be themselves, even when they're being difficult, and you still believe in them.
It all comes full circle.
I'm starting to see how these secrets all work together, not just one thing, but a whole way of being in the relationship.
A tapestry of love. That's a good way to put it. As we get to the last part of this deep dive, I think it's worth thinking about how these secrets show up in our own lives. How can we actually, put these principles into practice?
It's a good question. Let's explore that in the final part of our deep dive. It's funny, we talk about love like it's this big mystery, but this book, The Go-Giver Marriage, it makes it seem so down to earth.
Right. It's not about finding that perfect person. It's about making love happen through these real steps you can take.
It's refreshing. It's like we actually have some control over this. We're not just, waiting around for love to find us.
We're creating it.
Yeah.
And the book is honest,
Yeah.
Relationships aren't always easy. There are ups and downs.
That metaphor they use, the magical tree.
Oh, I loved that.
It really stuck with me, how love needs to be taken care of, like a plant. You can't just ignore it and expect it to flourish.
You got to tend to it.
Yeah.
Give it what it needs.
And these 5 secrets, they're like the tools, right, to help our love grow, even when things get tough.
I think a lot of people, they have this idea that love should be easy. That if it's meant to be, you shouldn't have to work at it.
Yeah, like it should just happen magically.
But this book says, no, love takes effort. You got to be intentional about it.
It makes sense, right? Anything you value in life, you got to put in the work.
Exactly. Your garden, your health, your career, love is no different. And the book doesn't just tell you to try harder. It gives you specific things you can do.
Like with appreciate, they say to find 3 things you appreciate about your partner every day and tell them.
Right. It's such a simple thing. But it changes your whole focus. Instead of nitpicking what they did wrong, you're looking for the good stuff.
You start noticing all the little things they do for you.
And you appreciate them instead of taking them for granted.
And those little things, they add up. They make your partner feel seen, loved.
Which is what Attend is all about, right?
Tuning into what they need and actually meeting those needs.
And that's where knowing their love language is so important. Because what works for one person might not work for another at all.
It's not just about doing nice things. It's about doing the right nice things.
You got to be a student of your partner. Pay attention to what makes them tick.
It makes you wonder, how often are we getting it wrong without even realizing it?
Probably more than we think. We all have our own ways of feeling loved. And if you're not speaking the same language, you're going to miss each other.
It's like talking to someone who doesn't understand you. So communication is key, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
You got to talk about it. What makes you feel loved? What makes your partner feel loved?
Yeah.
And then be willing to, to adjust.
To meet each other's needs, which takes vulnerability, doesn't it?
For sure. You got to be able to say, hey, I don't have all the answers. Help me understand you.
And that's where allow comes in, creating that space where you can be open with each other without feeling judged.
Where you can be yourself completely.
Yeah. It's like saying, I see you and I love you just as you are, which makes it easier to believe too, I think.
Yeah. When you feel accepted, you start to believe in yourself more. You're more willing to go after your dreams.
And having your partner believe in you.
That's huge. It's like they see your potential even when you don't, and they remind you of how amazing you are.
And it's not just about saying the words. It's about being there for them, supporting their dreams, celebrating their wins.
Picking them up when they fall down. Being their cheerleader.
Which brings us to grow. The idea that personal growth isn't selfish, it's actually good for the relationship.
It keeps things interesting.
Exactly. You're both learning, evolving, becoming better versions of yourselves, and that brings new life to the relationship.
Keeps the spark alive.
It reminds me, love isn't a finish line, it's a journey.
It's always evolving. And this book, it gives us a roadmap, tools to build a love that lasts.
So as we wrap up, think about these 5 secrets. How can you bring them into your own life, your own relationships?
What can you do today to nurture your own love, your own magical tree?
It's worth thinking about because love is a choice every single day. A choice to be present, to care, to grow.
And don't forget the most important relationship, the one you have with yourself.
That's so true. Love yourself first and the rest will follow. Go out there and spread the love. Till next time.